I'm Beza. I'm a software engineer at Google and I work on the YouTube comments team. My coworker Timothy and I are going to be talking about the problem Pack the Slopes from CodeJam 2020's Virtual World Finals.
Hey, I'm Timothy, a software engineer at Google, and I work on enterprise ads as well as CodeJam.
In this problem, you are tasked with assigning skiers to routes on a ski resort rented out for the day. We have different rest points that are connected by slopes, including the summit. The mountain is set up such that there is exactly one way to get from the summit to each rest point. Each slope between rest points has a price. You must pay this price for each skier that uses that slope while skiing to their final destination rest point. But some slopes have bounties. This means that the ski resort will pay you that amount for each skier using that slope. Also, each slope has a maximum capacity. This limits the total number of skiers that can go down that slope in the day.
That's right, Beza. So ultimately, you want to figure out the maximum number of skiers you can put on the mountain for the day. Also, you want to find the least expensive way to do this. Here's a hint. This amount may actually be negative if you hit enough slopes with big bounties.
Here is the example in the problem statement. You can see that the rest points form a graph, specifically a tree where the summit is the root node. All skiers have to start from the summit and pay the price of the slope, which is technically an edge in the graph whenever they use it. But the rest point that they stop at doesn't have to be a leaf node.
Oh, so how would we optimally assign skiers in this example?
As we can see in the graph, the total capacity of the slopes from the summit is 7. So we cannot place more than 7 skiers. First, we can send 2 skiers to the rest point 4, which will cost -$2. It wouldn't be beneficial for us to send any skiers to the rest point 7 from this point since it will cost extra money. After that, the remaining 5 skiers that are still at the summit can use the slope between 1 and 3. But why stop here when we can get some bounties from the slopes between 3 and 2 and 3 and 5? We send 3 skiers to the rest point 2 and 2 skiers to the rest point 5. At the end, we spent a total of $15 to place 7 skiers on the mountain. Now, I'm going to turn it over to Timothy, who will go over some tips and solution hints that will get you going in the right direction.
Just to reiterate, we need to first find the maximum number of skiers we can have ski on the mountain, and then find the cheapest way to do this. This problem shares a lot of similarities with min-cost max flow. However, the standard algorithms that solve that will not work here because the number of slopes, rest points, and potential skiers is far too high. So, we need to do something a little bit different. As Beza already pointed out, because each rest point can only be reached through exactly one route down the mountain, the graph consisting of rest points and slopes is a tree. We can take advantage of this and solve this min-cost max flow problem efficiently. One way to do this is to keep sending skiers down the mountain until there's no more room on the mountain for them to go. This would mean that for each rest point, at least one slope on the path from the summit to that rest point is at maximum capacity. If we send the skiers down the mountain to rest points with the cheapest cost first, we will end up finding the least expensive way to send the maximum number of skiers down the mountain. So, we can initially do a depth-first search on our tree to find the cost for the path leading to each rest point. We can then order our rest points by these costs.
I see, Tim. So as we send more and more skiers down the mountain, certain slopes will begin to hit capacity, meaning that we can't send any more skiers in that direction. Using something called heavy light decomposition, also known as heavy path decomposition, we can keep track of how many skiers are going down each slope and if a rest point can be reached. Combining this with our ordering of the rest points, we can efficiently calculate the maximum number of skiers that can be sent down the mountain and the cheapest way to do so.
That's all for now. Thanks for watching, and make sure you check out the full problem analysis on g.co/codejam.
Bye.